Hi, this is Lou with MeterBuilder. I've been asked in a few emails what some recommended settings are for the MB-1, being that it's got a lot of different display options. There are some suggestions on the website which devices work best with which measurements, but I can show you three configurations that I use. I have the meter sitting on top of my Mark V, and when I'm using the Mark V, I have this set up for peak power, this set up for SWR, this set up for min SWR and max SWR. I have the bar graph set up for average, and I have the panel meter set up for real-time power. And I have that set up in my startup set, so every time I power up the meter by default, that's the set that comes up. So let me go ahead. Let me just show you what that particular setup looks like with a voice transmission. Hello 1 2, hello 1 2, hello 1 2, hello 1 2 3, hello 1 2 3, hello 1 2 3. Okay, you can see I'm showing peak power here, real-time power here. And one of the things I had mentioned the other day, the top value is set to a low averaging window, so it looks almost like real-time, but there's really some averaging taking place there. And the number over here is the maximum value that the bar graph has achieved. And so just by looking at that number and knowing what it normally is, that's a pretty good indication of whether, from my point of view, the station is set up reasonably. If I turn the processor off, let me reset the bar graph. Hello 1 2, 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 hello 1 2. Okay, you can see that peak average power is somewhat lower, and again, that's a number that I might use as an indication of whether everything is working reasonably. If I switch in a reactive load, hello 1 2 3, hello 1 2 3, hello 1 2 3. Okay, you can see the cross needle meter picking that up. You can see the SWR modified to its new value, and you can also see that the min max has picked that up as well. So even if I reset the SWR to its correct value, this is going to hold the max for me. And this is useful for, if you believe you have some kind of transient condition. When the wind blows, your antenna gets stretched a little bit and funny things happen that you might not see. That might be useful for picking things like that up. So that's what I use when I'm close up to the Mark V. Let me show you the next setup. During rag chewing, I like to sit on the couch, which is about roughly 10 feet away from the setup here. So what I have is another configuration set. Configuration set 2 is set up to make use of, I don't know if you could see it here, make use of the larger devices, so I can basically see them without having to be up real close to the equipment. What I've done, let me see if I can kick off this light here for a second. All of the settings are the same, with the exception of using the external bar graph on the top, and that, with the light off, you might not be able to see it, but that's serving the same function that the other configuration was. It's showing me the averaging power with a short averaging window, and the large display, the numeric display, is showing me peak power with I believe approximately a 1 second or 0.8 second peak hold interval, and the Dewa meter. Hello test, hello test, hello test 1 2, hello test. Let me throw in a reactive load. Hello test, hello test, hello test 1 2. All right, so that's configuration number 2. Okay, the third configuration set I'm going to show you is a configuration set I use for another station just a few feet away from here. So let's go ahead and pick that configuration set. We want the restore, which is button 2. Okay, so we're now on the option set that we use for the ICOM. I use the ICOM Pro occasionally, and you can see hello test 1 2. You can see the meter there. Hello test 1 2. Hello test 1 2. It has a power output meter. Gives you a pretty good idea of what's happening with the power real time. But I've also configured one of the meters that we used in an earlier video, and I leave this here usually, and I have this configured for peak power. So it's certainly easier to read, and it's giving me a mode that I can't get from the ICOM 756 Pro. Of course, this can be set for average, SWR, delivered. Okay, you can move the panel meter up to 150 feet from the control head. Why 150 feet? Well, that's the maximum we've tested it at. That extra cable will add some resistance, of course, and your panel meter reading will start to read lower than it read if you calibrated it close to your test head. But you don't have to recalibrate the entire meter. The extra cable is just adding some series resistance. The trim pot that you use to set the initial setting is just adding some series resistance. So you can basically go into the simulator and pick the full scale option, which causes the meter to drive the output at what it thinks is the correct full scale reading. And at that point, all you have to do is adjust the trim pot so that the full scale reading, the needle reads at the full scale reading, and all your other measurements will fall into place. Okay, so I hope I've given you a few other ideas in terms of how you can use MeterBuilder 1. The idea of remote meters is, I think, something that you might find useful if you have multiple stations like most of us do. All right, thanks again for joining us.